I was doing what moms do in the kitchen with my 3 children, making dinner, checking emails, and I opened up an email that said, "Congratulations, your loans have been forgiven." To say I was stunned, a total understatement. It was $40,000 plus in student loans just gone, zero. I wish you could have seen it. There was dancing. There were tears on my part.
In the past few years, more than 4 million Americans have opened their email or student loan account to see the life-changing news that their balance is now zero, thanks to the Biden administration's student loan forgiveness plan. Well, tens of millions more of you out there could soon be getting the same good news. As today, President Biden announced a new student debt relief plan that could lower or erase the loan balance for up to 30 million Americans, which is, to borrow Bidenism, a big effing deal. This new plan, which is expected to be rolled out in the coming months, focuses on select groups of borrowers, those who owe far more than they originally borrowed due to interest, those who have been paying for at least 20 or 25 years, those who attended career training programs that led to high debt loads or low earnings, those who are eligible for existing forgiveness programs but never applied, and those experiencing hardships that prevent them from making loan payments. And joining me now is someone who has been fighting for student loan debt forgiveness for years, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Okay, Senator, this is something you've been pushing for. Explain why. Let's explain the sort of ramifications of this for ordinary Americans.
So this is just a hallelujah day. This is the day when Joe Biden announced, as you said, 30 million Americans are going to see either all or a chunk of their student loan debt wiped out. And it's been a long fight to get here, but he's doing it. And, you know, I want to tell the story because I think the story says a lot about Joe Biden, says a lot about his values. So back when he was first sworn in, one of the first things he wanted to do was figure out what he could do about student loan debt. Because, as you know, this is crushing millions of Americans. 40% of the people who have student loan debt do not have a college diploma. These are people who tried and didn't make it, or they were never in a 4-year program to begin with. And here they are, no college diploma, but still struggling with student loan debt. We know this falls particularly hard on African Americans. We know it falls harder on women. So we've got a lot of people who are dealing with student loan debt, really struggling with it. So President Biden announces a plan. He's going to cancel student loan debt for tens of millions of Americans. What happens? Republicans showed their values. First thing they do is they sue the president and try to shut the whole thing down. Go to Texas, get a stay, and so it all shuts down. Goes all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And this extremist Supreme Court decides that the words waive or modify loan debt doesn't actually mean waive or modify, which is exactly what the president had said he was going to do. Okay, so the president knocks, the Supreme Court knocks the president back. And, you know, I got to say, at that point, a lot of folks in politics would have said, I did my part, I tried, Supreme Court told me I couldn't, I'm done. Instead, Joe Biden turned around and said, okay, do I have any other tools in the toolbox? Tell me what I've got and let me pick them up and start using them. And he started right away. He has already canceled student loan debt for 4 million people. And he announced today that using existing law and existing regulations, he is going to build out from that, and he's got a path to cancel debt for 30 million Americans. Yeah. This is going to be transformative for these people, and this is about showing that we can make government work, not just for billionaires, not just for giant corporations. We can actually make government work for families. That's what Joe Biden's all about.
Yeah, it's interesting because, and I actually know a family member who just over this last weekend, and I didn't know this and didn't prompt it, said, you know, that they got one of these magical emails that said $30,000 of debt that they've carried for decades because, again, it takes forever to pay it off. And this person is a working professional in the education field and said and said they used the words life-changing, that kind of debt. It truly is. You know, and you talked about the Supreme Court and the extremism of them because they're extreme on everything. You know, when it came to abortion, it's the same thing, right? They said, oh, sorry, ladies, you women don't have the right to control your own bodies. Donald Trump then is left in the position where his party says, goody, we're now going to do a national abortion ban in addition to the states. He now is coming out and trying to pretend that, oh, no, leave it with the states. Does anyone in the United States Senate believe that? Because it seems to me that between the Comstock Act and Lindsey Graham saying we're doing a 15-week abortion ban, it's BS when he's saying that.
Of course it is. And we all know that. You know, you really want to say to Donald Trump, how dumb do you think the rest of us are? We're not going to let him lie his way out of this. Donald Trump brags and continues to brag to this day about the fact that he put this extremist Supreme Court in place, and all of these folks who stood up and so soberly said to the American people and to the United States Senate, yes, I'm going to follow precedent. And that was all supposed to be code for, I'm not going to fool around with Roe versus Wade. And then the very first opportunity they had, I don't mean the second or third, I mean the first chance they got, they said, oh, you know what? Not anymore. We're just flipping the whole thing over. And for the first time in American history, took away a constitutional right from half the population. Said, we're done. Not going to do that. And of course, we know what's grown up since then. And that is, we've got 20 states that effectively ban abortion at some level or another. But here's the deal. You can't sit there comfortably in a blue state and say, well, you know, as long as it's state by state, I'm okay. No, you're not. Lindsey Graham made clear they're coming for everybody in this country. And right now, there are Republicans putting together a whole plan through the Heritage Foundation and their other work to say, you know, even if we can't get an abortion ban through Congress, if we can just get Donald Trump in the White House, we will go ahead and ban abortion nationwide. And they're laying out what they think are the tools that they can use right now and then get their extremist courts to sign off on it. You know, this is why I keep saying, Joy, and I know you do too, abortion is on the ballot in 2024. And this is the strongest contrast between Donald Trump, who put this extreme court in place, who helped overturn Roe versus Wade, and Joe Biden and the Democrats who say, you put us in, you give us the White House, the Senate, and the House, and we're going to make Roe versus Wade the law of the land.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.